You're welcome back. It's network. So we go straight to the program without wasting time. So that is why I said I greet you. I welcome you back again as we continue to adhere to our program this evening because no matter what it takes, this program we must carry it on this night. No matter what enemy try to do, how they try to stop us, we must go on with the program. So I welcome you back again this wonderful night. Thank you so much. We must continue. We must. We are discussing the issue of a government in exile, that people are making mockery of themselves, disgracing themselves in social media without knowing the meaning of the government in exile and without knowing that in the past that some countries in Africa has already used government in exile to achieve their own country, that people have used it in the past to achieve their own country, that what we are doing today is we are following the existing histories that leads to having a new country and making declaration. We are talking moreover from histories of African countries. In Africa, people have used what we just declared on November the 29th, 2024. People has passed through that road and they have achieved it. I am not talking about those in agitation, in a protest, that claiming that through what they are doing, that they can be able to achieve this government or they can be able to achieve this country. They think that there is amount of protest, amount of right or making noise social media that will make the world to come and say, oh, because of this you are protest, because of this you are agitation, because of this you are struggle. This is what Chukwuemeka or the Ojukwu fight in the past. That because of that, come and take Biafra. You are a Biafra. They never know there is a road, there is template, there is how we are going to work to achieve this Biafra. Biafra is not because of that Ojukwu has declared it, and because of that, we are Biafra. No. Because if because of the Ojukwu that has declared it before, that is the one we're going to use to achieve Biafra. Why are we agitating? Why, since over all these years of protest, agitation, and all these things, that yet we are not, nobody has called us Biafra is a country? Have you asked yourself, what is the criteria? What is the road we will follow for us to achieve Biafra as a country? And how did others in Africa achieve their own in the past? These are the areas that we as the Biafran people must adhere towards it. And going towards that is the only way we can get what we are looking for. It's not about what you think. It's not about how you see it. It's about the histories and how those that matters most when a new country is being declared. It's all about how they see it and how they want us to go. And how we that are trying to change narrative, letting them to know that this is how we want it, not how you want. That this is how I want to do it, not how you want us to do it. So now it is in this way that many countries in Africa in the past have gone through exile government to achieve their country. Why can't we follow them and queue in? Why? It is very imperative that we understand and we can be able to defend our government by ourselves. That we can be able to protect that name as a government and be proud of it. We are not the first in Africa. In African history, the Biafra government in exile, USB, is not the first people or the organization that was declared a country in exile in Africa. It has happened before and it's continuing happening. So let us listen to this, to the history of Africa's countries that have used government in exile to achieve their country, and today all of them are country. Some of them stay over decade in exile before they can be able to come back home. What brings them home? The declaration. Remain in exile, some of them, fighting to make sure that they achieve recognition through the international community, the members of the UN, before they can be able to do what? To come back home. So we are not the first. And I want you to know that we are not going to be the last. As you join me back, please endeavor to share and like the program back, because we are back again this evening, this night again. Sorry for that delay because of network, but we are trying to be here because we must pass this message in a short hour. So listen to this as we move.
In African history, several movements followed the path of establishing a government in exile to secure international legitimacy before they actually controlled their territory. This was a common strategy during the decolonization era and the fight against apartheid. While many movements acted as provisional governments, only a few achieved the high level of international recognition you are describing, while still being based abroad. 1. Algeria, the gold standard, GPRA. The most successful example is the Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic, GPRA, established 1958 in Cairo, Egypt, later Tunis, Tunisia, while fighting the French. The recognition. Long before France left in 1962, the GPRA was recognized by dozens of countries, mostly in Asia and the Middle East. They had a cabinet, ministers, and even their own diplomatic missions. The result, by the time negotiations with France began, the GPRA was already seen as the legitimate representative of the Algerian people, which forced France to treat them as equals. 2. Western Sahara, the Sahrawi Republic, SADR. The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, is a unique modern case of a country in waiting that has achieved major diplomatic status without full territorial control. Established 1976 in Tindouf, Algeria, by the Polisario Front. The recognition. They were officially recognized by the African Union, AU, in 1982, which led Morocco to leave the AU in protest for over 30 years. Today, they are recognized by dozens of countries as a sovereign state, even though Morocco controls about 80% of their territory. The status. They have a full seat at the AU table and participate in summits alongside established nations like Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. 3. Guinea-Bissau. The PAIGC. The African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, PAIGC, took the declaration step very early. The act. In 1973, while still fighting Portuguese forces, the PAIGC unilaterally declared independence in the liberated zones of the jungle. The recognition. Within weeks, over 80 countries recognized Guinea-Bissau as a sovereign nation, even though the Portuguese still held the capital city and most major towns. This international pressure made Portugal's position diplomatically impossible, eventually leading to their withdrawal. 4. South Africa and Namibia. The legitimate representative status. Movements like the ANC South Africa and SWAPO Namibia did not always call themselves governments in exile, but they achieved a similar status. UN status. The United Nations General Assembly officially recognized SWAPO as the sole, while Namibia was still occupied by South Africa. Impact. Open offices around the world with observer status and treat the occupying government as an illegal entity. Summary table. Movement/country. Base of exile. Key recognition year. Status reached. Algeria. GPRA. Egypt/Tunisia. 1958. Recognized by most of the Arab world/Asia. Guinea-Bissau. Conakry/Jungle. 1973. Recognized by 80+ states before war ended. Western Sahara. Algeria. 1982. Full member of the African Union. Namibia. SWAPO. Zambia/Angola. 1973. UN, sole and authentic representative. How this applies to your interest. In your context regarding the United States of Baifra, USB, and the BRGIE, these historical cases show that the goal of the declaration is often to create a fait accompli, a done deal. By getting even a few foreign nations to recognize the declaration, a movement moves from being a domestic rebel group to an international diplomatic issue. Would you like me to look into the specific legal requirements a government in exile needs to meet to be invited into the African Union or the United Nations?
Thank you so much. Before we go on, I want to greet those in the comment section. I see you, my brother Chigozie. I see you, Ambassador. I see you, Jelewan. Good evening. I see you. Michelle, good evening from here. This is Triple M. I see you. Okay, let us manage the program today. We are testing. We are going to get better gradually. So let us pay attention on this program. Because people have started talking about government in exile, that you should remain and be talking in exile. And when people cannot find out if this road that we, the Biafran people, are passing through today, that in the past, if people has passed through that road, and to that road, are there a country today? There is three things about this program this evening. One is that any group, any country you are hearing today, like Algeria, they use one organization being registered. That is the organization they are into before they move to declaration. And after their declaration, they collapse all those structures into a political party names. After their declaration, they all collapse those names and form them. That automatically becomes a political party names. We are not the first people who use that to be registered in this 21st century, a government in exile. We are not the first. People choose what they like. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu choose IPOB. Owazurike choose Masob. Have you asked yourself, why did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not register Biafra in exile? Have you asked yourself about such a question? Anebo Achara, you're welcome. Chidubem, you're welcome back again. The network is trying to teach us a lesson, but we will show them that we are stubborn this evening. So have you asked, there is no country that was in exile. They all form a group. They all registered organization. That inside that organization, they all are there until they went and choose a date that they are going to do what? Make their declaration. That this day, after our declaration, that our name is so country, not fall back and continue using the organization name that was being registered. Things I want us to learn. One is this, that USB is not the first ever government in exile in the world. They are not the first exile government in the world. They are not the first. And we are not going to be the last either. Now, number two, we are not the first people that use a structure name, register it as organization first before we declare United States of Biafra as a country. And also, number three, in this program this night, after they have declared their independence, did they went back to answer another the same name they was using when they never made declaration? These are the areas I want us to touch. And also those that what they are in exile, they remain in exile until they achieve what? International recognition before they come back and take over their territory. Before they can be able to come back, to take their control of their territorial integrity and their sovereignty as they claim. That is why we, as the Biafran people, we need to know our government. We need to know our standard. We need to know what we are into and who we are, so we can be able to defend ourselves with examples and the date, histories, month, year. All these things are very important at this stage that we are into, because it's going to help us to shut up those that are gossiping. That is why I said, whenever I am playing this audio, I want someone to record it, send it out to people. Please see Biafra son, I see you. You're welcome. Pay attention as I will play 3 times. because I want it to get into all of us first. So when you see those, like that woman call herself a Lol Neka Chimezie, at her age, because of how Nigeria has bended their brain, she cannot, before she will talk, she'll find out who is who. We are not doing about IPO agitation. No, that is not what we are here to do. We want to discuss about IPOB protest agitation. If there is any amount of protest and agitation that the world will say, oh, come and take Biafra, you are a country now. Okay, Ojukwu declared it in 1997, that is why you are fighting. That is why we are protesting. Nobody does that. Nobody. And it never happened before. It's not going to happen. When we are on the road, when we are on the final bus stop, make that this our declaration is what they call it done deal. The declaration is what done deal of you having a new country, that you have end protest, end struggle, end agitation. You are a government in waiting. What are you waiting for? Recognition from the members of the UN. That is all. Listen to this once again. Easy way I can see you are welcome. Thank you so much. Listen to this.
In African history, several movements followed the path of establishing a government in exile to secure international legitimacy before they actually controlled their territory. This was a common strategy during the decolonization era and the fight against apartheid. While many movements acted as provisional governments, only a few achieved the high level of international recognition you are describing, while still being based abroad. 1. Algeria, the gold standard, GPRA. The most successful example is the Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic, GPRA, established 1958 in Cairo, Egypt, later Tunisia, while fighting the French. The recognition, long before France left in 1962, the GPRA was recognized by dozens of countries, mostly in Asia and the Middle East. They had a cabinet, ministers, and even their own diplomatic missions. The result, by the time negotiations with France began, the GPRA was already seen as the legitimate representative of the Algerian people, which forced France to treat them as equals. 2. Western Sahara, the Sahrawi Republic, SADR. The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, is a unique modern case of a country in waiting that has achieved major diplomatic status without full territorial control. Established 1976 in Tindouf, Algeria, by the Polisario Front. The recognition. They were officially recognized by the African Union, AU, in 1982, which led Morocco to leave the AU in protest for over 30 years. Today, they are recognized by dozens of countries as a sovereign state, even though Morocco controls about 80% of their territory. The status, they have a full seat at the AU table and participate in summits alongside established nations like Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. 3. Guinea-Bissau, the PAIGC. The African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, PAIGC, took the declaration step very early. The act. In 1973, while still fighting Portuguese forces, the PAIGC unilaterally declared independence in the liberated zones of the jungle. The recognition. Within weeks, over 80 countries recognized Guinea-Bissau as a sovereign nation, even though the Portuguese still held the capital city and most major towns. This international pressure made Portugal's position diplomatically impossible, eventually leading to their withdrawal. 4. South Africa and Namibia. The legitimate representative status. Movements like the ANC South Africa and SWAPO Namibia did not always call themselves governments in exile, but they achieved a similar status. UN status. The United Nations General Assembly officially recognized SWAPO as sole and authentic representative of the Namibian people in 1973, while Namibia was still occupied by South Africa. Impact. This allowed them to receive funding, open offices around the world with observer status, and treat the occupying government as an illegal entity. Summary table. Movement/country. Base of exile. Key recognition year. Status reached. Algeria. GPRA. Egypt/Tunisia. 1958. Recognized by most of the Arab world/Asia. Guinea-Bissau. Conakry/Jungle. 1973. Recognized by 80-plus states before war ended. Western Sahara. Algeria. 1982. Full member of the African Union. Namibia. SWAPO. Zambia/Angola. 1973. UN, sole and authentic representative. how this applies to your interest. In your context regarding the United States of Biafra, USB, and the BRGIE, these historical cases show that the goal of a declaration is often to create a fait accompli, a done deal. By getting even a few foreign nations to recognize the declaration, a movement moves from being a domestic rebel group to an international diplomatic issue. Would you like me to look into the specific legal requirements a government in exile needs to meet to be invited into the African Union or the United Nations?
I hope you are listening. As you join us, please try and touch the like button and also share the program. Like our brother Christy Biafra's son said, please endeavor to do that. Because through that means you are sending the message to go viral, please. We are doing this program this evening for those that they do not understand what it takes to have a new country. You see, there is no, I hope you had it here in Africa. They are all in exile. Even though when their territory was even occupied by those that are oppressing them, those oppressors, they see them as a sovereignty. Because of what? That the declaration is a done deal for you to achieve a new country. Justice, you are welcome. Oliver, you are welcome. I can see you. Onyangosi. So much. We want those to tag that woman called Lolo Neka Chimezie that had showcased her face. Please, I want you to call this program to tag this one to come and listen. What it simply means to have a government in, what it means for you to achieve a country. That this Biafra everybody was talking about cannot be given in the template of that we agitation and the protest and struggle of IPOB. It can never happen. Nobody will see you as a state. Now that Simon Ebanjoko has introduced and lead us to, through the done deal of having a country like others in Africa in exile. And people cannot take their time to think before they talk. Well, when you give someone evil money, you must act according to the evil money that was being given to you. You will act as what? According to that evil money that was being given to you. And when you base your argument on the one side, you are making a mistake. For all the entire Biafrans, for all the entire Southeast old region, inside old region, this program is all of you who are challenging this government. I want you to know that you are digging your grave. I want you to know that the path all of you are towing is a part of Hadaino that will come at last to all of you. Mazekai is here this evening doing programs, sit at home and protest of those who are what's happening in that old Anambra. And we all must now be channel our strength in one thing. That is why I choose things I do. The analysis, the explanation that they are doing like his platform and even that platform is okay. So we all will know channel on one thing. So please, pardon me if you are here, maybe you want to hear about the protest or you want to hear what's happening in Anambra. This is what I'm doing is also what we need to know. So please endure with me. Do not say that the program is boring because I'm the one talking or playing that audio note. This is the 18 that we are missing. This is why we need to educate ourselves. So now that we have government in exile, we can understand the value, the importance of what? Government in exile. It is very imperative that we adhere to that. That is why I am bringing you this little message. Never you mind, please, but pay attention as we go deep into the program. Because we need a time to disgrace those that are challenging USB. Those that are calling us government in exile, yes. I want you to learn how to be proud and things you can use to defend this government and defend yourself because you are a man. You are a citizen of government in exile, so you also remain in exile. It is very, very imperative that we adhere towards instruction and that we understand our stand and our level and what we have to do at this stage that we are into. We need to look at how others achieve their own country. If you have a child, sometimes they will refer you as your child or your children to read some past old papers of those who have passed out from the school. Why? Because history is repeating in the school. The same way history is repeating in the movement of having a new country, because we are not the first and we are not going to be the last. So let us go. Now we play, we pause. We it's in a way in our own common word, in our with our little English and joint that our people will understand. Thank you so much. Please be patient with me.
In African history, several movements followed the path of establishing a government in exile to secure international legitimacy before they actually controlled their territory. This was a common strategy during the decolonization era, a fight against apartheid.
I hope you listen very carefully. This is in Africa history. In Africa history, several movements, several, not one. Well, you know that in the several, many countries in Africa, or total country in Africa, follows the path of establishing government in exile to secure international legitimacy, for the international government to see them that we are a sovereignty, we are a nation in waiting until the world sees them and give them what they are looking for. What is that thing? Recognition. Now, there was a common strategy during the decolonization area and era and the fight against apartheid. In South Africa, in the history of Nelson Mandela, when he was arrested, his men flew away from South Africa. They went into exile. Exile does not mean whether you are in London. If you're supposed to be in South Africa, you leave South Africa, you are in Egypt, you are in Ghana, you are anywhere. That is what the world call exile. The time of Ethiopia government was in exile in London. So anywhere, once you are not in that territory you are fighting for, once you step aside from it, that is what they call what? Government in what? In exile. And many in Africa followed through this road to do what? To have their own country. And the question is, did they make it? And how did they make it? If you check how they are, when you listen how they make it, then you will understand that we are on the right track and we are making it also how other peoples in the world make it on their own. That is exact road that we as the Biafran people are following today. Forget those that making mockery of themselves, those in the social media making mockery of themselves, those claiming IPOB, those claiming DOS, go nowhere. Answering DOS of IPOB can never give you a Biafra without the proper criteria and the proper step which has been done by that man, Maznan the Kanu said that you have come to bring a new dimension. The new dimension lead to what? Our readmission of the country called United States of Biafra, whether you like it or not. And we are not begging you. We only want you to know that continue being a fool you are and continue doing what? Making mockery of yourself in social media. Continue doing that because at last you will cry Hadaino. And we are here to remove you from crying for what? For Hadaino. That is why it is at this stage that we must understand what we are doing, that others in the past has gone through that way. Because now, Biafra government in exile is on the stage. They also help us to share our message, spread this message, let the world know from their mouth that there is a government in exile. And they are very, very effective. They are in control. That is why they can give order and the people adhere towards that, because people know that this is people that want us to have what? Country. Santos, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Do you know that in the apartheid regime of Nelson Mandela the hero, Nelson Mandela the hero. Do you know that in time of Mahatma of India, they all have government in what? Exile. But I know why I want to focus in only Africa alone. For you to change that stupidity of African mentality that is in your brain. That is why I must focus on Africa. You're also going to hear those that remain in exile until they get recognition before they can be able to come back and take care of their territory. That is why our example of what we are doing is what we have done in the past. No matter what it takes, no matter how many years it takes them, they was be able to achieve. So if they can achieve it in those years, we have come to achieve our own with immediate effect, and we owe you no apology.
While many movements acted as provisional governments, only a few achieved the high level of international recognition you are describing, while still being based abroad.
I do hear it. That some countries was achieved recognition, why they still remain in exile. That is why our DPM, that is why the USB channel their strength in recognition. Why many movements acted as a provisional government, only few at high level of international recognition you are describing, why still being based in abroad? They are still based where? In abroad. They are in abroad to declare it. They are in abroad controlling their people. They are in abroad trying to make everything humanly possible, and from doing what? Their recognition. They did what? They achieve what? The international recognition upon they are not in one controlling their border, their territory. Some could not even control 20%. But in exile, they achieve what? Their international recognition. Honestly, she doesn't deserve to call that name, that pig, honestly, with wide, bogus mouth and that face that had already come down. Honestly. Now let us listen on this issue of Angola. Of Algeria. I want you to take two things home this night. Before I play it, look at the two things I want to take home. Algeria, do they have a functioning group, organization they use? They gather themselves into, like Obato Obie, gathering us into from autopilot to bridge government in exile. Like Obato Obie, like Mazen Nandekan forming IPOB, like Owazwike forming Masab. But one thing that is important is that did any of these IPOB or Masab, did they make declaration? The answer is no. They did not make the declaration of what they are looking for. Rather, they continue on agitation and protest. These people, the issue of Algeria, like I'm saying, they did not continue agitating without declaration. Even some people declare after 2 months of the agitation of their country, they went ahead and do what? And make declaration. That public, openly declaration is a done deal that a country has emerged and they are waiting for recognition. When somebody said, don't talk about international law, don't bring this history, we cannot have this Biafra without these histories. We cannot achieve Biafra without all this. Why are they giving us those history? Why do you go to school in the history? You read about Nnamdi Azikiwe and you are Nigeria. Why did they teach you? Why are they talking the history of the coup that will happen in Nigeria 2 times? There is an existing histories, existing things that are guiding us. Now, if you know for Simon Ekpanjoko, I don't know what they call government in exile. Do you know it before? Can anybody comment here that if not for Simon Ekpanjoko, that any of us, that you know what is called government in exile before? Or have you ever had it in your ear before? If not for Simon Ekpanjoko, have you heard about government in exile before? I want someone to ask me, yes, I have had it, or you never. Because for me, I only start hearing about government in exile from Simon Ekpanjoko, the Prime Minister himself. That is the only time. Yes, Triple M, honestly. I never knew about it until he introduced it. And when he's not there, I trying to find out if this thing that Obato Obie introduced, or what we went to Finland to go and do, if people has done it in the whole world. When you look at those that use government in exile in the world, over 100 and something countries in the world, over 8 something countries in the world was in exile. That is when I start knowing, oh, so. Moreover, I start my research after our declaration. Honestly. And when I said, this is not Obato, this government in exile, declaration of Biafra in exile, has it happened before in the world? I start trying to let me find out by myself. And I find out that it is a true, that it is a movement, that it is what people have used in the past. No Nigeria person have ever had government in exile. That is why they don't know what it simply means. None of them, Nigeria, ask them, have they any of them had a bad government in exile? Even in the history of South Africa, did any of us knew that South Africa, those that fight apartheid regime, that immediately Nelson Mandela was being arrested, they all travel out? You are going to hear it here today. Yes, we always hear that Ojukwu run into exile, but we never knew that there is a government in exile. Sometimes I begin to ask, did Ojukwu even know history of government in exile? Because that is when Ojukwu could have killed this matter off. Ojukwu could have stayed in Ivory Coast and finished issue of Biafra. What happened then? Because the names I'm hearing there, their history of those that grant their own, some of them, they have achieved it before us, before someone called Ojukwu emerged. Because that opportunity he used to step away in Ivory Coast could have been the best avenue, the best opportunity to end the issue of what? Biafra, and get it in a platter of gold. But Chukwu Okabiama knows why Biafra is not a country then, because we might not value it. We might be corrupt like Nigeria. I think that is why Chukwu Okabiama is looking for this time to come, where everything is become digital, where if you steal 1 naira, we catch you. If you give you a job, you eat the money, we catch you. Do you know why? Now I realize why Chukwu Okabiama said, no, it's not in the time of Chukwuemeka Ojukwu that we will not value it, that we will not appreciate it, that we will not protect our border very well. But give us this revolution today, we all go down the land. But let us continue on what we are doing, please. Like I said, from Algeria, 1, you will hear the name, the organization that Algeria was using before they can be able to make declaration and start using the name of their country. You hear it here today. I want us to take time to deliberate on this particular program this night, because this is where when we use this explanation to give to all these fools, all these intellectuals, all these brown envelope social media people, like that woman called herself Nenwe. Like that woman. It is very imperative that we all understand it clearly, so we can know our stand. Then we can defend, you can defend yourself, and also defend the government when they are not there. In any platform you go, you can be able to stand, and the world, they will be silent when you are talking. That is what our Mazi, that is why, this is what, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has taught us. Our president, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Let's continue. Number one, the number one in Africa, listen.
1. Algeria, the gold standard, GPRA.
Do you hear it? Number one, Algeria, the gold standard, GPRA, in bracket. This is a name. This is how Algeria started. They first formed a group. They start organization. The name of the organization that Algeria uses is what? They use GPRA. Is what they use to carry their people along to do what? To achieve Algeria as a country. Let's continue.
The most successful example is the Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic.
Are you hearing it? The most successful example is the government of what? Algeria Republic. GPRA. This is the name of the organization that Namibia people use. Now, in the time of their declaration or after their declaration, did they continue using GPRA? That is the question. Nicholas, good evening from here. You're welcome. Please, as you join us, please hit the like button. Let the message go viral, please. You are welcome. Thank you so much. I never see Bishop, but I know he will join us very soon because he's always here at all time. So, the most successful example is government of the Algeria Republic, GPRA, in brackets. That is how we're supposed to be putting bridge in brackets. Forget those that have time to, those that have collected money and start messing up in social media. We must continue. Listen, where did Algeria, where are they? Where are they in exile? Where? Listen, in Africa. Listen.
PRA, established 1958 in Cairo, Egypt, later Tunis, Tunisia. While
do you hear it? I want you to follow me. There was what? Established 1958 in Cairo, Egypt. Later, they moved away from Egypt to where? To Tunisia. Algeria, government in exile, when Egypt trying to make it difficult for them, they packed their load and luggages, walked away from Cairo, Egypt. They landed where? In Tunisia. And in Tunisia is where they stood up and did what? Make the declaration, because Egypt wanted to collide with France to stop them on their movement. And when they fight, they realize that if we remain in Egypt, that we are not going to achieve our country. What happens? They move ahead to Tunisia. Finally, that is where they landed. And from there, they make their declaration and everything is moving smoothly for them. Now, after their declaration, what do you hear here? You hear Algeria Republic, GPRA. That name, that organization they use in brackets. It's in our own time that after we have they are declared, we still went back and answering bridge, government in exile. Fools! You can't research and find what we are doing if this has happened in the past. Everything is in the digital. Nothing is in the hide anymore. Everything is available at this stage that we are into. We must continue. Listen. It does not end in 1958. While fighting France, a whole France, they are fighting. Imagine. And they run away from the Algeria territory. They went to Cairo, Egypt. When Algeria people find out that Egypt is about to collude with France, they flee away from Egypt to where again? To Tunisia. Listen to this.
Fighting the French. The recognition. Long before France left in 1962, the GPRA was recognized by dozens of countries, mostly in Asia and the Middle East. They had a cabinet, ministers, and even their own diplomatic missions.
Are you hearing it? I hope you are listening, my people. This name of this GPRA was already been there. In Obato Obia's time, at this time that we're still into, the name that people used to know Obato Obia is what? Bridge Govt we are in exile. Is it not true? The name people used to know Mazda Nakano is what? IPOB. On the one being registered, not as the indigenous people. Do you understand? Now, why Owazuke use Masob? These are names. If any of them know the road and what it takes to achieve Biafra as a country, they could have done it before Batobia emerged. True or false? But because of they don't know the road to lead to having a new country, they are there messing around. They are there misbehaving and claiming they are fighting for a country. I hope you can get it clearly. Without this declaration, nobody sees us as a country. And because of the name you are answering, is that name is what people used to know you. And on that name, you are the one to tell them, no, I have passed the level of see me as organization. Now I am a country. Now, how can you let the world know that you are a country? You go on to do what? Declaration that leads to recognition. This declaration is what? It's external way to bring external body to come and discuss or to talk about you. It doesn't matter where you make the declaration. What matters is this. There is a document of the declaration and there is a signature that signs it and there is a witness that bears on it. These are what matters so much. After a long time agitation. Now, there is what I want you to understand clearly. This GPRA, there was for a long time, calculated from 1955 to 1962 and more on it. They start using only this one name. If when Simon Ebanjoko emerged, if DOS was determined that what they want is Biafra, Simon Ebanjoko is the easy access who knows the road that could have even uplifting DOS and clean them, rub them scent oil, the world, then they will shine. But they refuse to shine. In a common word, as we are brought to get up, and now brought to get down. That is IPO. That is why IPOB remains down to today, because no member of IPOB have ever experienced or know what is called government in exile. They don't even know what is called declaration. Quote me anywhere. Because when we're in IPOB, I am OTEC as IPOB member in my location by this stupid criminal Benjamin Madubub. He's the one. But today, what is him? I was young. I know when I entered IPOB, when he gave me oath, from my sub to IPOB. Doing nothing. Nothing. But that is not why we are here. We are here to prove to the NEC and all one Nigeria list and all IPOB member that the deal has been done. There's nothing of you. It's a done deal already. The world knows criteria to follow. And they are watching all of us. They are seeing the movement. Government in exile. Listen. Number one, Algeria, the gold standard, GPRA. The most successful example is the provisional government of the Algeria Republic. Now, they put that GPRA inside bracket. And what do you hear in the beginning? The Algerian Republic. Now, they introduce in bracket the name or the organization that there was being registered before they can be able to achieve what? Their country. All of them in exile use organization. All of them in exile use what? Organization. After their declaration, they did not use that name to lobby for recognition. No, they used the name of the country that they was be able to declare to lobby for the country. How could you be answering Mbemena and you want to use Odimega in your document? Which one are they going to recognize you? Mbemena, yes, sir. This is a document, yes, sir. Not the first, but we are not going to be the last. We are the history of those that have achieved their country with government in exile. This is the history of Algeria that we are reading. Let's continue.
The result, by the time negotiations with France began, the GPRA was already seen as the legitimate representative of the Algerian people, which forced France to treat them as equals. 2. Western Sahara, the Sahrawi Republic, SADR. The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, is a unique modern case of a country in waiting that has achieved major diplomatic status without full territorial control.
Are you hearing it? In Africa here, the Sahara Republic, when they were fighting for their independence from Morocco, they used words in bracket SADR. I am not going to go into the meaning of this name, but what do I want you to understand? There was in exile, and they said that they are the modern current example of what is happening at this stage that we are into. I see you, Mommy Rose. Good evening. Good evening from here, my brother. I greet you in a special way. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's continue, my people. Let's continue. Is equal a modern case of a country in waiting. They has achieved major diplomatic status without fully territorial control. In the fallback, in the one Nigeria, in the IPOB. Listen to the common country in Africa here. Listen to the history of a country in Africa. In this CRC, BBC, PP. Okay, Water, thank you so much. Thank you. They look at, let me repeat here again. The Sahara Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, is a sequence modern case of country in waiting that has achieved major diplomatic status without fully territorial control. They are not fully control their territory. For those who are telling you, you have to control your land 80% before you become a sovereignty. You have to control it before you show you a... Oh my God. Where are they getting all this information from? In this 21st century, our eyes has opened. And those things that the world is hiding, we must go and bring it out to make sure we defend our stand on this mandate of our declaration of Biafra. Let's continue.
Established 1976 in Tindouf, Algeria, by the Polisario Front.
Remember, Algeria was be able to get their own when 1962 to 1963, precisely. Look at it now. Another country in Africa that moves away from Morocco in Africa. Another country in Africa that moves away in Africa. They run away from their territory. They do what? They run away. Where do they run to? They run to this Angola in 1976. Angola was be able to, in exile, achieve everything and regain their territory from the hands of France. 1963, finally. Count how many years. Now, when the people of Sahara, you know what I'm talking about in Africa, when they are fighting their own, they run away from their land. They said, establishing 1976 in Algeria. That is where they established the government in exile. Also, remember that this Angola exile government in the first place was in Egypt, Cairo, Egypt. What happened? When they find out that Egypt want to collude with France and capture their government, what happened? They flee away from Egypt to Tunisia. In Tunisia is where they are. They achieved everything as a country. They now come back and take care of what? Their territory. Because of they understand the importance of a government in exile and why people need their freedom. They want the people of Sahara ask them, please, we are looking for shelter or in a country where we will stay to fight like you. They welcome them. They give them opportunity. They landed in Algeria and did what? Fight for their country. They established it, their movement, SADR. When? 1976. Let's continue.
The recognition. They were officially recognized by the African Union, AU, in 19... the AU in protest for over 30 years.
Are you getting some here? Morocco start treating them. They move. The recognition, they were officially recognized by the African Union, AU, in 1982. Remember the journey. From 1976 to 1982, they was be able to get what? Recognition. Now, when other countries in Africa recognize them, or when Africa Organization, AU, recognize them, what happens? Which lead Morocco leaving the AU in protest for over 30 years. Because of some African countries, because of organizations like African Union organizing Sahara in 1982, the Morocco now disappear. They withdraw themselves in a protest. They did protest. They removed their hand and they said, we are no longer a member of the UN. Sorry, of the AU. They stay away from it for 30 years. Because of what? Recognition that was being given to Sahara Republic. That is only the offense. You see, people are acting like Nigeria. I want to tell you, if any country recognizes Biafra tomorrow, and even UN, Nigeria walk away from it. Take it or you leave it. Look at the example here. Let's continue.
Today, they are recognized by dozens of countries as a sovereign state, even though Morocco controls about 80% of their territory.
Are you hearing it? Today, they are recognized by dozens of countries as what? As a sovereign state. Even though Morocco controls about 80% in this present 2026. Morocco controls 80% of their territory. But in the world, and other countries sees them as what? As a sovereign state. Maybe they have been able to control 20%. And the Algeria did not control 1%. When they are fighting for recognition, after their declaration. I hope we are hearing in this modern day that Sahara is not even up to now controlling 80% of their territory, but the world sees them as what? As a sovereign state. Let's continue.
The status. They have a full seat at the AU table and participate in summits alongside established nations like Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa.
Are you hearing it? Look at Nigeria that keep Mazen Anakan in tension. Look at that Nigeria that keeps Simon Eba in prison in Finland. Look at Nigeria that are looking for all of us to wipe us away. People of Sahara are in what? They are all members of the AU table, and they said each nation like Nigeria. This is a country that would not control 80% of their territory. They are a member of the EU, and you will come and then go there. You are in exile. Stay in your exile. I'm controlling your people. This Sahara, there was where in Algeria. That is where they are. That is why you need to know the road to the freedom. That is things that we all must understand. That we are not the first people. That Ngozi Rebeze was not the first one that who declares a new country in exile. We are talking of Africa. When you go furthermore, time they run into London and declare Ethiopia as a country, government in exile. They run into where? And today we made our own because of your primitive, because of your envy, because of your hatred, because of your low mentality of one Nigeria who you are. You cannot reason. That is why the white one said, if you want to hide anything for a black man, put it in the written note, hide it, they will never see it. But the world, we are here to, this is the document, these are here that you have created and keep in separate places. We must bring all of them out. So we will know why you are not going to recognize us as a country. That thing you are hiding, we are there already. Before this time we make one step, we will make 10 at a time because we are one of the smartest people in this world. If Nigeria could allow Sahara because of Nafana Bisiala, that is why Nigeria allowed them to be into AU with them. But it's our own case. It's what they will buy us. It's our own case. It's why they wipe us away. Remember, we have mentioned two countries already. Algeria, Sahara. 2. Now, remember that all of them have a structure that was being used. They have a name before the declaration. On that name, they are all gathered together. On that name, they are all did what? Gathered together. And they move to declaration and start using the name of that country that there was declared for seek for recognition. Look at Sahara today in AU, with Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. And you think that our own is not possible. They play. They play. They do yourself more harm than good. Had I know we come at last. All of you will cry, had I know. And we want all the enemies to show your face. Show who you are really. Stop pretending. Come out. You are coming out could not stop us because of what? There's an example of a history. America, 1776. When they made that declaration, 56 people signed about the Declaration of America, that the name that they want to be is University of America. Over 548 people went ahead to sign, from another group, sign that they do not want that name called United States of America. They don't want to be out of, they want to remain under Great Britain, under the king. The question you have to ask yourself is this: because of 548 and against 56 people that are on the right track, the 66 people, the 56 people was why you have America today. The 548 refused. The world knows the truth. Look at this Morocco today, who is fighting against Sahara, was the first country that went ahead to recognize America. After 1 year, after a year and 6 months of their declaration, they went ahead. You see? That is how Nigeria is moving ahead, propagating some countries to recognize in the world. But when we talk about Biafra, Chukwu Okabiama has ended all of you. As Nubi is falling in Turkey, that is how Nigeria is falling down every blessed day, because we must end Nigeria. For those who want to answer one Nigeria, take your one Nigeria. Allow us to answer our country, which is what? United States of Biafra. You see this name you heard so much. This name will hurt all of you till eternity, because we have exit, we have achieved, we have on the road, we have moved the people of Algeria and the Sahara that are today Sahara and Nigeria, that Morocco never recognized, or Morocco is fighting against them today. They are in the same organization alongside established nations like Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. Could you hear that? Could you? I have given you two countries, government in exile, and where they are and what they have did. And they did not control their territory before they become a sovereignty. They did not control it until they grabbed the recognition. Listen to this again. Another country again. You will hear the name of the country. You will hear the structure, the name of the organization that there was being used before they can be able to achieve their country. Listen to this. Yes, I want to thank you so much. There was busy Nigeria recognizing Gaza and the Palestine. Ndị ọkamma n'iro. Ndị ọkamma n'iro. Ngena Sahara, you and Sahara are still alongside establishing nation, above establishing nation, Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. All of you are there. You think that we will not emerge. We have already emerged more than what you think and more than what you're expecting from us. Let's continue. The third country, number 3. Listen.
3. IGC, the African Party for the...
Do you hear it? Maybe South. The name in brackets. This is a name they use like when you had IDOB organization, when you had Massaw. This is how all these names stand for. They use what? PAIGC. Africa Party for the Independence of Guinea and the Govt. Cap Govt, yes. Are you hearing it? They march together. They march together to fight. They separated. If Oduduwa join us to fight, we will be carrying ourselves along together. That is an example of Guinea and the Govt. Where Sonia Prawa is, and she cannot tell us he can't tell us the history of that country where he is. He cannot use that country, how they fight, to know how a movement is moving and how others shift their own country. That country you are, they use the name of a structure. So now I will ask if after their declaration, do they go back and start using PAIGC? So the Africa Party of the Independence of Guinea and Govt, PAIGC, took the declaration step very earlier. These two countries, they took what? The declaration. If you go down to their history from the beginning, after a year and 6 months, they're not declaration. They could not waste time. Like what Abatobi did to us. After a year and 6 months of their protests, they went into exile. And what happened? What happened to them? Immediately, because they know what they want. They know those that are leading them are not like DOS. They're not like Owazurike. They are like Mazen, like Simon Ebanjoko and Ngozi Arabeze. And all the US cabinet members. They knock what? They declare it immediately. After declaration, the day still went back. That's what they marched to. In what name was they recognized? And in what name did they stand on until they achieved recognition? Listen as we move.
Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, PAIGC, took the declaration step very early. The act, in 1973, while still fighting Portuguese forces, the PAIGC unilaterally declared independence in the liberated zones of the jungle.
Are you hearing it? This is a common word. In jungle, the act in 1973, while still fighting Portuguese forces, the PAIGC declares independence in the liberated zone of the jungle in exile. Now they have bring the word where you can understand in the jungle. If they don't want to use exile government, a government in the jungle, look at the word they use on their own. They are where in the history carries it that they are where in the zone of the jungle.
Recognition. Within weeks, over 80 countries recognized Guinea-Bissau as a sovereign nation, even though the Portuguese still held the capital city and most major towns. This international pressure made Portugal's position diplomatically impossible, eventually leading to their withdrawal. 4.
What I hear our DPM saying every time, that Nigeria must withdraw their military. Portugal withdraw their military. They withdraw it. Now, they make what? Their declaration when? 1973. Listen, no. The recognition within a week, over 80 countries recognized Guinea-Bissau as a sovereign nation. Even though the Portuguese still held their capital city and the most major towns. Most major towns of them was being held by who? By Portugal. Like the way Nigeria is trying to hold our territory today. The international pressure made Portugal position diplomatic impossible, eventually leading to withdraw. They withdraw what? Their military and they left. Those in the jungle who make declaration in the jungle is why what happens. The recognition, they said, is a week. Despite fighting Portugal after their declaration landing. What happens? That is how what leads for them to for the so-called Portuguese remove their military and flee away. Now I have given you how many countries? This is 4 because of Govt and Guinea-Bissau. These are countries in Africa today. These are countries in Africa. I don't know why when we start this our movement, all the proverb, all of them are all of them will die. People said, Ozu amara akpọ ole egbe anya n'ọdụ. Ọkpụ ụzụ ama ka esi akpụ ụzụ, ya lekene egbe anụ ka ọma ka esi akpụ ụzụ. When Obata Obie was reading to us Montevideo Convention, when he was busy teaching us Geneva Convention, he never knew. That is Ozu ama akpọ ole egbe anya n'ọdụ. If not for Obata Obie, have you heard from anybody, even Mazen Nandekano? I never heard from Mazen Nandekano about Montevideo Convention, Geneva Convention. Have you heard it from them? Let's say the truth. Let's open our mouth and say the truth. Simon Bar introduced what is called Montevideo Convention, Geneva Convention. Do you know what I never heard from Obata Obie is Vienna Convention? I'll be able to find out when I ask how many conventions are in the part of people that want a new country. They now give me 4. What are those 4? Montevideo, Geneva Convention, Vienna Convention, and the UN Charter, and African Charter. That is number 5. Laws where the roads that we are playing right now by the government of the USB, they are all in there. They keep it down that we will not research. In the World Index of Researcher, before Mazen Khan was taken away, in the world of researcher position, he is what? From Africa. Number 5. Go and verify. In Africa, Mazen Khan Obata Obie is in the 3rd place, 2 of them the same place, until they take them away. Could you imagine that? And you think that Simon doesn't know what he's doing. If Obata Obie knew that Finland will be a betrayer, he could run away the same way people of Algeria run away from Egypt. When France want to use Egypt to capture them and destroy them, they flee to Tunisia, and Tunisia give them safe landing, and from there they got their country today. You must continue. Let us go another country again that all of you knows very well. Listen to this.
South Africa and Namibia, the legitimate representative status. Movements like the ANC South Africa and SWAPO Namibia did not always call themselves governments in exile, but they achieved a similar status.
Are you hearing it? The apartheid regime of Nelson Mandela, do you know that it's also a woman was in charge till Nelson Mandela comes out from prison? What do? They are in exile. They run away from South Africa because of the former government of South Africa trying to buy them, arrest, put them in prison together. What happened? They all flew away in exile. I hope you heard it today that those that fight for apartheid regime, they're all we're in exile until the world starts. Do you also know that when Namibia is fighting their way out from South Africa, that because of the things that South Africa was doing to people of Namibia, that the UN invoke and remove South Africa as a member, resist their territorial integrity until UN tell them, you must go and recognize Namibia as a country. Immediately UN, when UN was UN, not now, Amina Mohammed is there, buying people every blessed day, that immediately that it was being organized, South Africa, once the UN sanctioned them, that is why at this stage, UN must sanction OAU, Commonwealth, all of you must sanction Nigeria, remove their so-called blood territorial integrity. Because Nigeria is a simply mean death sentence to every indigenous people. This is a truth. What is going on? That is why a lot of genocide is happening today. That is what people of South Africa try to do to people of Namibia. They only attempt to do that, and you sanction them. And today, because of the money that Britain, England, London, UK is giving you because of our own God's-given resources, oil that is in our territory, all of you are sharing it. That is why you're keeping silent. But that silence will turn Hadaino to all of you in the UN. That is it. South Africa, there was government in exile. The apartheid regime government was in exile. Those that end it up and achieve it. Check the history very well. Namibia was in exile because of South Africa for many decades before they can come back and take over their territorial integrity by order from the UN.
UN status. The United Nations General Assembly officially recognized SWAPO as the sole and authentic representative of the Namibian people in 1973, while Namibia was still occupied by South Africa.
Are you hearing it? I hope you heard it clearly about Namibia. These are countries in Africa. UN status. The United Nations General Assembly officially recognized SWAPO as the sole and the authority representative of the Namibia people in 1973. Because of what? There is a son of Namibia who was a citizen in another country that are member that have opportunity to be a member of the UN. So he lobbied for his own people. That is why they call Namibia the child of UN. Because of what? There is somebody in the West na onye nna ya na alaeze adịra aga ọkụ mmụọ. Nwanne ya na alaeze adịra eje ọkụ mmụọ. O mezuru isi ndị Namibia ngwa ngwa. Their own recognition come two times. There was one of 1973 and 1990 when they was officially come back to their home with their arrangement, and Africa, they all came back and take their territory. That is why all of them work together. They collaborate together. The history of Namibia and who again? South Africa. The apartheid regime. There was an exile government. Let's continue.
Impact. This allowed them to receive funding, open offices around the world with observer status, and treat the occupying government as an illegal entity. Summary table. Movement/country. Base of exile. Key recognition year. Status reached. Algeria, GPRA, Egypt/Tunisia, 1958. Recognized by most of the Arab world/Asia. Guinea-Bissau, Conakry/Jungle, 1973. Recognized by 80+ states before war ended. Western Sahara, Algeria, 1982. Full member of the African Union. Namibia, SWAPO. Zambia/Angola, 1973. UN, sole and authentic representative. How this applies to your interest.
Listen. I hope you had all the names of the structure. Before you have the name of the structure, what is the first thing? The name of the country. Because they use this group to fight for a country. They use it to fight for another group, to fight for another group. No. That is why once they made a declaration, all their structures to become a name of a party are using to fight for their freedom in their own country. This is how it happens. So, can you see in Africa how many this evening? How many countries? 5. Algeria, Guinea-Bissau, Govt, Namibia, and South Africa. Now, I am asking this question in applying about, now I put USB to ask that question. Listen to this.
In your context regarding the United States of Baifra, USB, and the BRGIE, these historical cases show that the goal of the declaration is often to create a fait accompli, a done deal.
Remark that word. That our declaration, which we use bridge, now on here, they put bridge in brackets. To use bridge to declare what? United States of Biafra as our country. That declaration is what? A done deal. It is what? A done deal. That is how you achieve country. This is how the 5 in exile becomes a country till today.
By getting even a few foreign nations to recognize the declaration, a movement moves from being a domestic rebel group to an international diplomatic issue. Would you like me to look into?
Are you hearing it? From that declaration, we have moved ourselves out from a rebel group, agitation, protest for a long time. The international community call you what? Rebel. Ndị IPOB, ndị fallback, ndị CRC, ndị BGC, ndị PPC, or of Vam. All of you continue discussing yourself. The world are watching, and the world are keeping history. The world are keeping history. So our phone call, our number will be open for this night for a call. In case if as I'm playing it fully, if call comes in, we will take. The number to call remains +9 7 33 60 51 337. I repeat, +9 7 33 60 51 337. Only on WhatsApp, as I am playing it without saying a word. So if you want to record, you can also record the voice, send it to any group you like.
The specific legal requirements a government in exile needs to meet to be invited into the African Union or the United Nations. In African history, several movements followed the path of establishing a government in exile to secure international legitimacy before they actually controlled their territory. This was a common strategy during the decolonization era and the fight against apartheid. While many movements acted as provisional governments, only a few achieved the high level of international recognition you are describing, while still being based abroad. 1. Algeria, the gold standard, GPRA. The most successful example is the Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic, GPRA, established 1958 in Cairo, Egypt, later Tunis, Tunisia, while fighting the French. The recognition, long before France left in 1962, the GPRA was recognized by dozens of countries, mostly in Asia and the Middle East. They had a cabinet, ministers, and even their own diplomatic missions. The result, by the time negotiations with France began, the GPRA was already seen as the legitimate representative of the Algerian people, which forced France to treat them as equals. 2. Western Sahara, the Sahrawi Republic, SADR. The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, is a unique modern case of a country in waiting that has achieved major diplomatic status without full territorial control. Established 1976 in Tindouf, Algeria, by the Polisario Front. The recognition, they were officially recognized by the African Union, AU, in 1982, which led Morocco to leave the AU in protest for over 30 years. Today, they are recognized by dozens of countries as a sovereign state, even though Morocco controls about 80% of their territory. The status, they have a full seat at the AU table and participate in summits alongside established nations like Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. 3. Guinea-Bissau, the PAIGC. The African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, PAIGC, took the declaration step very early. The act, in 1973, while still fighting Portuguese forces, the PAIGC unilaterally declared independence in the liberated zones of the jungle. The recognition, within weeks, over 80 countries recognized Guinea-Bissau as a sovereign nation, even though the Portuguese still held the capital city and most major towns. This international pressure made Portugal's position diplomatically impossible, eventually leading to their withdrawal. 4. South Africa and Namibia, the legitimate representative status. Movements like the ANC South Africa and SWAPO Namibia did not always call themselves governments in exile, but they achieved a similar status. UN status. The United Nations General Assembly officially recognized SWAPO as the sole and authentic representative of the Namibian people in 1973, while Namibia was still occupied by South Africa. Impact. This allowed them to receive funding, open offices around the world with observer status, and treat the occupying government as an illegal entity. Summary table. Movement/country. Base of exile. Key recognition year. Status reached. Algeria, GPRA, Egypt/Tunisia, 1958. Recognized by most of the Arab world/Asia. Guinea-Bissau, Conakry/Jungle, 1973. Recognized by 80+ states before war ended. Western Sahara, Algeria, 1982. Full member of the African Union. Namibia, SWAPO. Zambia/Angola, 1973. UN, sole and authentic representative. How this applies to your interest. In your context regarding the United States of Biafra USB and the BRGIE, these historical cases show that the goal of a declaration is often to create a fait accompli, a done deal. By getting even a few foreign nations to recognize the declaration, a movement moves from being a domestic rebel group to an international. An exile needs to meet to be invited into the African Union.
I hope you are listening. And I hope we are today, because this is why we do all these things to be shared on every platform that will close their mouths, because we are the one to defend our government. We are the one to defend this government. We are the one to let the world know that we are following those criteria they want us to follow. Check about these 5 countries. They are all met their country through exile government. Today, are they not country? Even those does not control their land for the threat of 80%, they're not in charge. They see them as a sovereign state. That is why it is good for us to know those at the road and how it happens in the past, and that is the same way it is happening today. Let nobody change your mind. Stand strong, because the USB is the only road. Remember, I said our phone number is only on WhatsApp. +9 7 33 60 51 337. Only on WhatsApp. You can call and tell us how you feel and how you understand the program. If the program is exactly where we are at this stage, after our declaration, seeking for diplomatic words recognition, like people of Algeria, people of Namibia, people of South Africa. All these things happen in the past. It does not end here. I want those in Africa. When you go outside Africa, you will see more people that you are hearing today as a country, that they all use what? Government in exile. They remain in exile, they make declaration in exile until they get recognition. They talk about their land. So if you, as you listen this evening, if you really want us to go home, take your ID card, fill the form. It's pure evidence that there is a government of the people. That document is more than any other thing. It's proving there is what? 4 or 5 things. Permanent population, defined territory, effective government, capacity to sign agreements and treaties. These are what we need to know. We are the one holding ourselves. Let us go, those in Aspara, let us go and take this ID card quickly so we can be able to get the number, and when we go home, we must continue. We play it more once again. If there is no call, we are going to shut the program down. Thank you so much.
In African history, several movements followed the path of establishing a government in exile to secure international legitimacy before they actually controlled their territory. This was a common strategy during the decolonization era and the fight against apartheid. While many movements acted as provisional governments, only a few achieved the high level of international recognition you are describing, while still being based abroad. 1. Algeria, the gold standard, GPRA. The most successful example is the Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic, GPRA, established 1958 in Cairo, Egypt, later Tunis, Tunisia, while fighting the French. The recognition. Long before France left in 1962, the GPRA was recognized by dozens of countries, mostly in Asia and the Middle East. They had a cabinet, ministers, and even their own diplomatic missions. The result. By the time negotiations with France began, the GPRA was already seen as the legitimate representative of the Algerian people, which forced France to treat them as equals. 2. Western Sahara, the Sahrawi Republic, SADR. The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, is a unique modern case of a country in waiting that has achieved major diplomatic status without full territorial control. Established 1976 in Tindouf, Algeria, by the Polisario Front. The recognition. They were officially recognized by the African Union, AU, in 1982, which led Morocco to leave the AU in protest for over 30 years. Today, they are recognized by dozens of countries as a sovereign state, even though Morocco controls about 80% of their territory. The status. They have a full seat at the AU table and participate in summits alongside established nations like Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. 3. Guinea-Bissau. The PAIGC. The African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, PAIGC, took the declaration step very early. The act. In 1973, while still fighting Portuguese forces, the PAIGC unilaterally declared independence in the liberated zones of the jungle. The recognition. Within weeks, over 80 countries recognized Guinea-Bissau as a sovereign nation, even though the Portuguese still held the capital city and most major towns. This international pressure made Portugal's position diplomatically impossible, eventually leading to their withdrawal. 4. South Africa and Namibia. The legitimate representative status. Movements like the ANC South Africa and SWAPO Namibia did not always call themselves governments in exile, but they achieved a similar status. UN status. The United Nations General Assembly officially recognized SWAPO as the sole and authentic representative of the Namibian people in 1973, while Namibia was still occupied by South Africa. Impact. This allowed them to receive funding, open offices around the world with observer status, and treat the occupying government as an illegal entity. Summary table. Movement/country. Base of exile. Key recognition year. Status reached. Algeria. GPRA. Egypt/Tunisia. 1958. Recognized by most of the Arab world/Asia. Guinea-Bissau. Conakry/Jungle. 1973. Recognized by 80+ states before war ended. Western Sahara. Algeria. 1982. Full member of the African Union. Namibia. SWAPO. Zambia/Angola. 1973. UN, sole and authentic representative. How this applies to your interest. In your context regarding the United States of Baifra, USB, and the BRGIE, these historical cases show that the goal of a declaration is often to create a fait accompli, a done deal. By getting even a few foreign nations to recognize the declaration, a movement moves from being a domestic rebel group to an international diplomatic issue. Would you like me to look into the specific legal requirements a government in exile needs to meet to be invited into the African Union or the United Nations?
Yes. We are trying to let those one Nigeria list, those IPOB, those CRC, and all of them to know that people have met this declaration in the past with government in exile. They remain in exile until they be able to get what we called international recognition. When people in Africa declare it, many of them they are not in control of their territory. They are in exile, giving their people order as the government that the world is going to recognize, that we give the people the benefit of declaring that country as a nation in due time. And the world knows that when that particular group, that particular person that made a declaration, once he's alive, the world will not abandon her or he to call any other person. And in all the group claiming to fight for Biafra as a country, they never know the road, that there is only one road to end it up from being a mere political party or a rebel for you to be a government or a country in waiting. They never knew. But that is what we all think in the past. But one thing, when it comes to our people that are no longer the words or the law, is what? That one thing that is constant in life is what? Changing. Yes, so this is Re Biafra TV, not Maz Ezedos. Thank you so much, Jesse. This is Re Biafra TV. If you never subscribe, please, we ask to subscribe on this platform. Keep notification on. The only thing we do here is to bring history of countries that have passed the road that we are passing today. What we do here, we are here to bring all these, treat all these international laws, treat the history of countries in the past that have achieved their country, why they are in exile, and also proving that you don't need to control your territory 80, 20, 10% before you can prove that you are sovereignty. You must first give yourself what they called what? Internal sovereignty recognition under the UN. Before you come and ask to recognize you, they said that people of Biafra must recognize themselves that they have a sovereign state. If they refuse to come to take this ID card, it's only going to be delayed, but it cannot be denied. So if you want us to be in the homeland tomorrow, go and fill that form on next week, Monday, for you to wait for your ID card that proving that I am a citizen of United State of what? Biafra. So my people, one more, play the voice. I know I'm repeating it for those in Tinechi, so they can be able to understand it through our explanation that a government in exile, that USB is not the first in the history, and we are not going to be the last. Rather, we are passing the road that other people has passed in the past. In Africa, how many countries in Africa? Many, many, many countries in Africa, the way they achieve their own is the same way that we are going to achieve our own. Listen to this once again before we will close the program. But our people are busy, they cannot be able to call, but we must continue. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you share this message and you like whenever the message comes to your YouTube or through your Facebook or anywhere you are watching us from. So listen again.
In African history, several movements followed the path of establishing a government in exile to secure international legitimacy before they actually controlled their territory. This was a common strategy during the decolonization era and the fight against apartheid. While many movements acted as provisional governments, only a few achieved the high level of international recognition you are describing, while still being based abroad. 1. Algeria, the gold standard, GPRA. The most successful example is the Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic, GPRA, established 1958 in Cairo, Egypt, later Tunis, Tunisia, while fighting the French. The recognition, long before France left in 1962, the GPRA was recognized by dozens of countries, mostly in Asia and the Middle East. They had a cabinet, ministers, and even their own diplomatic missions. The result, by the time negotiations with France began, the GPRA was already seen as the legitimate representative of the Algerian people, which forced France to treat them as equals. 2. Western Sahara, the Sahrawi Republic, SADR. The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, is a unique modern case of a country in waiting that has achieved major diplomatic status without full territorial control. Established 1976 in Tindouf, Algeria, by the Polisario Front. The recognition, they were officially recognized by the African Union, AU, in 1982, which led Morocco to leave the AU in protest for over 30 years. Today, they are recognized by dozens of countries as a sovereign state, even though Morocco controls about 80% of their territory. The status, they have a full seat at the AU table and participate in summits alongside established nations like Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. 3. Guinea-Bissau, the PAIGC. The African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, PAIGC, took the declaration step very early. The act, In 1973, while still fighting Portuguese forces, the PAIGC unilaterally declared independence in the liberated zones of the jungle. The recognition. Within weeks, over 80 countries recognized Guinea-Bissau as a sovereign nation, major towns. This international pressure made Portugal's position diplomatically impossible, eventually leading to their withdrawal. 4. South Africa and Namibia. The legitimate representative status. Movements like the ANC South Africa and SWAPO Namibia did not always call themselves governments in exile, but they achieved a similar status. UN status. The United Nations General Assembly officially recognized SWAPO as the sole and authentic representative of the Namibian people in 1973, while Namibia was still occupied by South Africa. Impact. This allowed them to receive funding, open offices around the world with observer status, and treat the occupying government as an illegal entity. Summary table. Movement/country. Base of exile. Key recognition year. Status reached. Algeria. GPRA. Egypt/Tunisia. 1958. Recognized by most of the Arab world/Asia. Guinea-Bissau. Conakry/Jungle. 1973. Recognized by 80+ states before war ended. Western Sahara. Algeria. 1982. Full member of the African Union. Namibia. SWAPO. Zambia/Angola. 1973. UN, sole and authentic representative. How this applies to your interest. In your context regarding the United States of Baifra USB and the BRGIE, these historical cases show that the goal of a declaration is often to create a fait accompli, a done deal. By getting even a few foreign nations to recognize the declaration, a movement moves from being a domestic rebel group to an international diplomatic issue.
Take this area. Very important. Even though there is no recognition that the declaration, a movement moving from being a domestic rebel group, that is internal, that is being a rebel, that declaration moves us to what? To an international diplomatic issues. We are no longer, our declaration set us out from being a rebel. When you agitate for long without declaration, you are a pure rebel. That is why in the World Index, the IPOB organization, in their position number 10, the most dangerous agitation group. That is what they give IPOB. Go and make your research and come and challenge me. Then I will bring it out for you. Our people, the stupidity of those call themselves Igbo, like that woman, Lolo, Neka, Chimezie, never knew that we are prepared at this stage that we are into. Come and listen in that Africa you claiming you are, you are. Those that are youth government in exile, 5 countries so far. We bring those that what they did is exactly what the US government is doing. Not that we are compatible. You cannot learn a lesson with if there is no past, there will be no future. If there is no past, there will be no present. So all this in the past is that true that we are following today. If not, why do Obatobi teach us about Montevideo Convention? Ndị be anyị si ụzụ amara akpụ ya lekene egbe anya n'ọdụ ka ọma ka esi akpụ. So my people, I thank you so much for this night. We are going to draw the curtain here until we come back again tomorrow night. We'll be hitting the issue of this government in exile and also the importance of our ID card of the USB. Once you are in diaspora, please try and have this ID card. That is what makes you the citizen of USB. That is what gives you the definition that you are what? A Biafra, not by mouth. Because the evidence is not mouth. The evidence will show. So I want to thank all of you for being here this night. I want to thank Bishop. I want to thank you, Ben Shinaka. I want to thank you, Nicholas. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you, Time Good. Thank you so much. I welcome all of you. Please help me to like and share the program. Please, I beg you to do that so others and those people will hear Why I continuously playing these audio voices for to record this particular program or the voice. Send it to many groups. Continue sharing the voices. That is how to silence all these inconsequentials, where people that they do not have common shame. You don't know the road, and you claim you know. Why you know nothing? So I want to thank you all for being here. From me, from here, it is a wonderful night. It's because it is 1 a.m. from my location. Thank you so much. One love, my people. Peace out.